What if I told you that somewhere across America, hidden behind ordinary backyard fences and forgotten woodland paths, there are plants quietly generating extraordinary wealth, while almost nobody is paying attention to them? Not massive industrial crops, not endless acres of farmland, but rare, resilient plants that survived droughts, economic collapse, and centuries of neglect. Most people never notice them, because modern agriculture taught us to value speed instead of patience, uniformity instead of resilience, convenience instead of independence. Yet some of the most profitable plants on Earth do not grow best in giant fields. They thrive in quiet places, in shaded corners, in forgotten soil. And the final plants on this list are so valuable that a single mature patch can sometimes outperform entire vegetable gardens. One of them was once considered more valuable than gold in parts of Asia. Another can quietly produce income for decades after being planted just once. This is not simply gardening anymore. This is survival knowledge. This is forgotten self-reliance. And it begins with a plant most people walk past without ever understanding its true worth. American ginseng, scientifically known as Panax quinquefolius, one of the most legendary medicinal plants ever grown in North America. For centuries, indigenous communities and early settlers understood the power hidden inside its slow-growing roots. Later, traders carried those roots across oceans to Asia, where they became symbols of vitality, healing, and longevity. Demand became so intense that wild ginseng populations nearly vanished in parts of Appalachia. Then modern agriculture pushed it aside, because it was too slow, too difficult, too patient. But demand never disappeared. Today, mature wild simulated ginseng roots can sell for astonishing prices depending on age and quality. And the remarkable thing is that ginseng does not demand constant attention. It prefers quiet woodland shade beneath hardwood trees like oak and maple. Plant the seeds in rich leaf litter during the fall. Protect the area from disturbance. Then wait. No endless watering schedules. No synthetic fertilizers. Just patience. It grows quietly for years, becoming more valuable with time. In a culture obsessed with speed, ginseng rewards people willing to think in decades instead of months. But if ginseng is the king of woodland medicine, the next plant may be America's most overlooked fruit tree.
Pawpaw.
Scientifically known as Asimina triloba, a tropical-looking fruit hidden inside a cold hardy survivor. Long before supermarkets existed, indigenous communities relied on pawpaw fruit as a dependable source of nutrition. Even explorers like Lewis and Clark reportedly survived on them during difficult stretches of travel. The fruit tastes almost unreal, like banana, mango, vanilla custard, all inside one soft green fruit. Yet most Americans have never tasted one, because pawpaws bruise easily and spoil quickly after harvest. Industrial agriculture rejected them because they could not survive long shipping routes. But that weakness became an opportunity. Farmers markets, chefs, and rare fruit collectors are now driving increasing demand for fresh pawpaws. Young trees appreciate partial shade during their early years. Mature trees prefer sunlight for heavy fruit production. Plant at least 2 different varieties for pollination. Water deeply while the trees establish themselves. And once mature, they become remarkably resilient. What modern agriculture discarded for convenience may soon become one of America's most desirable local fruits. Then there is saffron crocus, scientifically known as Crocus sativus, perhaps the most delicate yet profitable plant on this entire list. For thousands of years, saffron was treated like treasure. Ancient civilizations used it as medicine, spice, dye, and currency. Every tiny strand must be harvested by hand from the center of a flower. Each bloom produces only 3 crimson stigmas, 3 tiny threads. That is why saffron became so valuable. Modern industrial farming ignored it because the labor could not easily be mechanized. But small growers discovered something powerful. You do not need massive farmland to produce extraordinary value. Saffron thrives in surprisingly small spaces with well-drained soil and dry conditions. Plant the corms in late summer or early autumn. Allow them to establish roots before winter. Then wait for the dramatic appearance of deep purple blooms. Harvesting requires patience, precision, gentle hands. But rarity is exactly what gives saffron its value. In a world filled with mass production, handcrafted crops become increasingly precious. The next plant transforms difficult conditions into opportunity. Wasabi. Scientifically known as Eutrema japonicum, one of the rarest specialty crops grown outside Japan. Most people believe they have eaten wasabi before, but the green paste served in many restaurants is usually dyed horseradish. Real wasabi is entirely different. Fresh, complex, sharp without being harsh, and extremely valuable. It evolved naturally along cool mountain streams where temperatures remained stable year-round. That difficulty discouraged large-scale farming, creating scarcity, and scarcity created value. Fresh, authentic wasabi rhizomes can sell for premium prices to chefs and specialty markets searching for the real flavor. For homeowners with shaded properties or controlled greenhouse environments, wasabi represents a rare opportunity. It prefers filtered light, rich organic soil, constant moisture, stable temperatures. It is not easy, but easy rarely creates extraordinary rewards. Difficult crops often carry the greatest value because so few people are willing to master them. Jerusalem artichoke may be one of the most resilient food crops ever cultivated in North America. Also known as sunchoke, scientifically called Helianthus tuberosus. This rugged sunflower relative produces underground tubers capable of surviving freezing winters, drought, poor soil, and neglect. Indigenous peoples cultivated it for centuries because it produced reliable food even when other crops failed. Then potatoes took over. Uniformity replaced resilience. But sunchokes survived quietly along abandoned fence lines and forgotten gardens, waiting. Today, interest is returning rapidly. The tubers contain inulin instead of starch, making them attractive for gut health and lower glycemic diets. Restaurants value their rich, nutty flavor. Survival gardeners value their relentless productivity. Plant a few tubers in spring. Provide sunlight and room to spread. That is almost all they ask for. And once established, they return year after year. Sometimes aggressively. Tall yellow flowers rise above the soil while underground the tubers quietly multiply. Food security hidden beneath the earth. Quiet abundance. Medicinal mushrooms represent another forgotten form of biological wealth. For centuries, cultures around the world understood that fallen hardwood logs could become living food systems. Shiitake mushrooms, scientifically known as Lentinula edota, became prized for both culinary and medicinal value. Lion's mane, scientifically known as Hericium arenaceus, is now gaining global attention for its potential cognitive and neurological benefits. Modern supplement industries have increased demand dramatically. Yet many homeowners still do not realize these mushrooms can be cultivated in shaded backyard spaces using simple hardwood logs. Drill holes into fresh logs. Insert mushroom spawn. Seal them with wax. Then wait. Over time, the log